Hello and welcome back to In Spirit with Missy Reno Smith.
And I am Olivia Smith, Vanna's older sister and Missy's favorite daughter. And today we're going to be talking about pets and animals in heaven, which to me is a very special topic because I am like one of millions of people who have had pets and who have lost pets.
Yeah.
And so to know what their life is like on the other side it's crazy and it's super helpful in life. So
It is. And let's just comment on why you're here today.
yeah, so Vanna's busy.
She's busy. She's doing other projects, but I think it's also important to say that you've actually been a part of this podcast the entire time.
I've been hiding behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, you do all the makeup, you do all the clothes, you do
all the social media.
You do all the social media, and you are you brainstorm topics, all those things. So you've been here the entire time. We just haven't seen you.
Exactly.
But we're happy to see you today.
And I'm happy to be here.
And you've been waiting for this episode. We've been planning this episode for a while, and we're finally getting to it. And it's a great topic. Pets. Everybody loves their animals. When people come to see me, they are sometimes shocked that pets can come through. And they don't always come through, but they often come through. And sometimes they were hoping, sometimes they weren't expecting, and so there's, lots of reactions that I get when I bring a pet through, but everybody is always happy.
They are very much a part of the family.
Yeah, everybody loves to hear from their pets, and they do cross over, they do go to heaven when they pass.
So when we die, how quickly are we going to see our pets? When do they show up for us?
When we die, immediately. They're like the first ones through. It's like when you come home, you come home from wherever it doesn't matter if you've been gone 1 minute or 10 hours. When you walk in the door, your dog is like right there.
Right.
Like they haven't seen you in a century. And so that's what it's like when you go home to heaven. And if you're like me and you've had a lot of animals, you're going to be overwhelmed by them. And so the animals, they're first. So all of your animals will
right.
And
what does that interaction typically look like? Is it like when you walk in your house and your dog comes and greets you?
It is exactly like that. They will mow you down.
Yeah.
They mow you down. They will run and jump and, show their excitement, wagging their tails, doing exactly what they did, Of course, they are looking a little different, typically, depending on when they pass. But they're looking young and healthy and, perfect.
Their best selves.
They are. They are their best selves. So, and that's something that's important that I share with my clients when an animal comes through is that they are happy and healthy and everything, because oftentimes when our pets pass, they're either sick or they're old and they're not in their best shape, and so that's kind of how we remember them when they go. But as soon as they cross over, and we call this the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah.
Why, I don't know. Because I don't see it as being an actual rainbow bridge when animals cross. They've never shown it to me in that particular way, and I go there often. There are many, it's very, where the animals sort of congregate, live in heaven.
Right.
I mean, it is very bright. There are lots of colors, and there are, it's a very large area.
So you say where they congregate and where they go. Is it different from where we typically are living within heaven? Are they in the same place?
They are free to go wherever they want to go. So I just want to state that. They can go wherever they want to go. They can come to us. We can go to them. But animals tend to live in this space. It is enormous. I mean, we're talking, it'd be like an entire planet, it's even bigger than that though. But there's an area where the animals like to be, and they often go there, but they can be anywhere and everywhere. And I see animals all over heaven when I go. So it's not like they're stuck, but there's this just general area where they like to be.
And where, like, all kinds of animals go, too, right?
Yeah.
Now, is cat heaven like mouse hell? Is that sort of a thing where, because they say cats like to chase mice and like they kind of like antagonize each other in life, at least on here in this place. Do they do that same sort of thing?
Well, that's a really good question. No, they don't. Because like here on Earth, we have to there's a circle of life here, and we need to eat, and so cats need to hunt, and mice happen to be prey, and such. But we don't do that in heaven. We don't need to eat, and
no hunting for sport. There's nothing like that.
No, not. I mean, they play. They'll play. They can chase and play and have fun, but they're not. There's no sort of like. And they don't hold it against each other.
Right. They're not, some mouse that knew a cat in life isn't going to be like, I can't believe you ate me.
No, they're not going to do that.
Okay.
They're totally, they're just, they can be friends.
Yeah. Well, that's nice to hear. So they go to heaven, but do they have souls like we do?
Yeah, animals have souls. However, there are certain creatures and things that I describe as having a group soul. This is a very odd concept. It's hard for me to wrap my head around sometimes. But, they're like cows and certain, I mean, they're... The vast number of cows, and do we really do they need that many in heaven and such? And so I find that some animals are in this sort of group soul experience, and
like a hive mind, like with bees.
So we just. Yes, you and you can look into a cow's eyes and you can see they have a soul and they are, this is absolutely true, but they might be experiencing or sort of like multi lives at the same time. It's a little odd. It's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Does that mean that each individual cow isn't, I don't know, experiencing a full life where they are? Because they're kind of everywhere?
Yeah. It's too hard. It's really just hard to comprehend. But they're not always an individual, if that makes any sense. Sometimes they are, it is a body, a life that is tuned into something that is kind of controlling more than one.
Okay.
But it is a unique soul. It's its own thing. Unlike bugs.
I was just about to ask about bugs because there's so many bugs. There's no way that there's that many bugs in heaven.
Oh, well, heaven is so vast and big that it's not that we can't have those numbers. It's just that they're not necessary.
Right.
And
they serve a purpose here on Earth. They contribute to the ecosystem.
Yeah. So
there's no need for that in heaven.
Right. But there are some bug-like things in heaven. It's just that all of the bugs that we need here on Earth don't need to be over there. Right. So there are some that just don't exist. They're not even there. But you can go to heaven and you can see butterflies. You could see, I've seen ants. Ants. They are not pests, but I have seen ants, like a heavenly ant.
I'd hope that they're a little nicer in heaven.
But there's some purpose that they
Yeah.
are serving, and that. So there are some bugs in
Right.
heaven, but just not all of
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things here that we just don't. They are just not necessary over there, and I see animals in heaven that don't exist on earth.
Yep.
We've talked a little bit about the long-necked cats.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love them.
I have a portrait of the long-necked cats. And there's some other weird animals that I've been
Right.
seeing since I was a kid that I've been drawn to, and I'm now starting to do portraits of those. Long-necked cat.
Yeah.
So Savannah can put that in later.
Yeah.
But things that don't exist here, or maybe they existed here a long time ago, and they're they went extinct, or...
What about, like, scary animals, like sharks and, like, things that bite and are venomous in here and that people wouldn't want to see? Do they exist there, like snakes?
Right, yeah. So there's a lot of things that, are just here because they're part of the experience for Earth, but they don't really need to be in heaven. Venomous, scary. There's nothing venomous and scary over there.
Okay. So I shouldn't worry about stepping on a snake when I'm frolicking around heaven.
No, but there could be a friendly snake. There could be something that exists that's like that, but it's not venomous and scary.
Yeah.
But it is similar to and that. But so we don't. You're not going to be eaten by a lion. You're not gonna, that's not going to happen in heaven. But you could encounter a lion.
So since they have souls like we do they tend to reincarnate like us? Because I know in some religions, like Hindus and Buddhists, they believe that animals can come back as both another animal and a human in another life. Is that something that happens?
So animals, people are people, dogs are dogs, cats are cats. That we don't have.
So
those,
a cat's not going to come here as a dog for a...
No. And as much as some people may wish they have been a cat in a past life, that's fantasy. We are, cats are cats, dogs are dogs, people are people, angels are angels.
Yeah.
We are what we are. And, we can admire an animal so much that we would want to be one or feel like we have been one, but we're not, and they don't switch to each other. But reincarnation, do they reincarnate? I would say, I have to say yes, that it's possible that they can and that some do, but there's a lot where they just live one life and that's it.
Yeah.
And
Heaven is sad to hear.
Well,
I know when our past dog Shotzi died, my first question to you was like, when's she coming back?
Yeah.
Like, I want to see her again in this life.
And she's like, I'm done.
She is out.
She's done. She's not coming back. Yeah, most of them don't. I mean, they don't need to. They really don't. That doesn't mean that it's impossible. They can. And certainly certain animal types, I think, do, like cows and things. Certain animals that we don't, they're not pets. They're, they have a whole different purpose, and they still have, they have a soul. They are, I'm not saying that they don't, but they just, they have a different way of life, way of living, a different purpose and such. But, so sometimes they can come back. They just often
don't want to.
And, they give us such a gift coming here once. It's such a huge gift to us. And they are here for us.
Yeah.
They are here for us. And, which is why we should treat them with love and respect.
Right.
They are giving us a gift, just their mere presence. Whether I'm talking about a pet or I'm talking about an animal, that we might eat, or otherwise serves humanity in some way, or is just, part of the ecosystem and all of that. I mean, it's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a major gift.
So the reason we incarnate is to learn and gain lessons from this life, they don't need that, do they?
That's not really their purpose. Their
Okay.
purpose is really here to support us.
So why would some animals choose to come into a life where they're maybe abused or treated badly if they're here as a gift, you know? Mm-hmm. What's the point of that for them? What do they gain from that?
Well, they have deep love for us,
Yeah.
as we have for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, they're here to help us grow. And somebody who is committing those acts, and they're horrific, right? I mean, that's horrible to imagine, you know. And we had an animal, Sage, who we had given away, and then he was abused by the person, and I was so upset when, you know, but we didn't have room for him. He was a very large dog. We just didn't have room, but I was so upset by us giving, and I just had horrible bad feeling. Like my intuition was just, I was crying. I remember just bawling in the car, and you know, just did not want this to happen. And then we learned a few months later that he was being abused, and we took him back. My dad just took him took him out of the yard.
Picked him up.
Took him back, and then we had him back. And it was very sad because he had been abused. He had been given human medication, to like steroid, like to bulk him up. Just horrific. I mean, and, you know, what did he gain from that? What did he learn from that? Well, he helped us learn lessons, and, you know, we were like, oh, my God, you know, we had to get him back. So we took him back, and we cared for him, and we helped him. And so we're learning and growing in that experience. Now, the person who actually abused him, you know, they're learning and growing too. Yeah. And it may not seem that way. Yep. But, you know, the lessons that they're learning, maybe they're, you know, maybe they haven't lived as many lives. Maybe they have, and they just wanted to experience this particular
cruelty.
Yeah. I mean, you know, this dimension is where all that happens. Yes. So they are making a sacrifice. Are they learning and growing as well? I believe that they are, yes. But not in the same, they don't have the same goals as us. Right. So they want to learn and grow and love and be loved, but they're not necessarily on this like mission of, I want to, you know, get to this whatever level of learning and growth that I might want, you know, whatever your own personal goal is. They don't really have that. They just want to exist and love and be useful, be helpful. So so they do volunteer for those roles. And you know, Sage, he experienced just a short stint of that, although he was a rescue dog. So before we had him, we know he was actually, you know, on the streets for a while. So he had experienced a lot of negativity. Yeah,
he'd had a very rough life until he met you and your family.
And you know, and then left for a very short time, but then and had more of that, and then came back. I mean, he picked a really rough one. It was wonderful while he was with us. But not otherwise. And so you know, he chose it though. He came here for that,
and he came here knowingly, right? He knew what was going to happen.
Yes, they know. They know, but it is our job to care for them. Yes, it's our job to care for them and to
treat them like the gift they are.
It's our job to take care of them because of their incredible sacrifice.
Okay, so these animals, when they're in this life, because they don't need to be here, do they ever get like a retreat back to heaven like we do when we sleep?
Yeah. I mean, so when we go to sleep, we sort of, when we hit that deep sleep, we sort of wake up in heaven and get a little little bit of a break, a check-in to see where we're at and how we're doing, and that dogs can do the same thing too. And sometimes a dog is dreaming and you can see them dreaming. Sometimes it's maybe not a great dream. You can see maybe they're whining or something. But
sometimes they're just running and having fun in their sleep.
Yeah, sometimes you can see them just running and frolicking, and I think that a lot of times that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
is they're visiting their home. They're very open to the other side. As a matter of fact. They can pick up on loved ones who are around.
Ghosts. Our old dog Shotzi, when she'd see a ghost, she'd sit there and she'd bark at it.
Oh, yeah. Shotzi was wonderful because Shotzi was a German short hair. And when people would come to see me at our house, she would interact with the spirits I was talking to. Like, so if I'm, reading for a client, Shotzi would sit there and she would look up above that client's head and be barking at something. And it was so amazing for my clients to see her interacting like that. Because you could see it in real time, like, oh my God, this is, and they do that. You can see that in your own home with your animals sometimes, watch your animals. If you have somebody who's, in heaven and visiting you and that, or if you have another animal that's in heaven and they're visiting, you can sometimes see your animals interacting.
Yeah, I see it all the time with Trinka and Vanka. Sometimes we'll just see them staring at a corner of a room or like down a hallway, and you can't break their focus off it. Like they're just so intent on watching whatever they're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're tuned in, they're excited. Sometimes they're just zoned in. Sometimes they're, excitedly playing, and there's nothing there for most people to see, but they're playing with somebody in heaven.
Yeah. So when dogs do pass away, do they get the chance to come and interact with us while we're still alive?
Yeah. I mean, our animals visit us. They come and see us when we need them. They like to come and sleep in our beds with us. They're not really sleeping, but they'll lay with us while we're sleeping, and they can come through a medium like me. There are also people out there who they only talk to animals, so that's all they focus on and such. So yeah, they can come through, and it's funny I say they can come through when we need them. So with Sage, he eventually he had to be put down, and the drugs that abusive man was giving him really harmed him, and eventually he had to be put down. But my parents didn't want to tell me because he was my dog. Like he was my dog, and he was my gentle giant. He was a Weimaraner, and one of my favorite breeds. And so he had to go. So my parents didn't tell me. They told me, and I was 13, 14. I think I was 13. And they told me that he went to go live on a farm with lots of space and all of this. And I'm, we had lost another dog before. I had experienced this. It was very difficult when we lost our black lab Maxine. But I could handle it, I think. But because I had been so upset about that situation, I think they chose not to tell me. And even though I'm a medium and I can see animals and people over there, and Sage had passed, I didn't know.
Right.
For many years, I believed, almost a decade, I believed he was living on this farm. That
was Grandma and Grandpa's excuse every time. That animal's on a farm.
It made it made no sense. As I got older. But when I was 21, and at this point I'm a mom. I've got a child. I believe I was pregnant with you, and they had to put a cat down, and they told my niece that the cat went to go live on this farm, and I was thinking that story sounds very familiar. And it was then that I figured out that
Sage was gone.
he was gone. And so then I started seeing him finally. He started visiting me. So he waited until I was ready. I wasn't ready to accept his passing until I was 21. And I remember then a couple months later, I actually went to our family medium. That was the first time that I had seen her, and she told me about my gray dog, and which the Weimaraner, their nickname is the Gray Ghost. Which is also kind of ironic, the Gray Ghost. But so he had come through to her too to tell me he was okay, as well as he had already come through to me. But it was very comforting, and it's funny though. Like, they're smart. It's like they know what we need. They know. So your animal knows exactly what you need.
Right.
They will come to you when you need them, and if you aren't experiencing it in your waking hours, you are in those times where you reach that deep sleep. So we all get those. We all get to interact with them even while we're still here, even if we don't remember it. So
even if it's just a dream. Sometimes I've waken up from sleeping at night and I'm just thinking, I know I was with my dog. Yeah, it is such a pivotal moment, I feel, in your life when you're young, especially, and you lose an animal like that.
It's hard.
It is very hard, so it is nice to know that
they're
that
okay.
isn't the end of our interactions with them.
Right. Yeah, our animals are important to us because they are our escape from humans.
Right.
We need that, don't we?
Exactly. They're like a little dose of heaven on earth.
They are. They really are. I mean, they lower our blood pressure. You know, when you're interacting with an animal, I mean, you're actually receiving healing in that very moment. You are being healed.
Yeah, I read a long time ago that petting a dog for like 15 minutes a day can extend your life. And make you live longer.
That makes sense. That makes sense. We need them. We really do. There's a partnership, you know, and which is making me think of the movie Alpha.
Oh yeah,
the great movie. Where it's like the cavemen times,
right?
You know, long time ago, and the first dog, the first man dog. Best friend moment is born, and so I love that movie. But that partnership that we have, you know, and I realize I'm speaking more about dogs because I'm a dog person.
Yeah, we're a dog family around here.
We're a dog family,
except for my one hamster. That was our one venture away from the canines.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you have a cat, I don't care what you have.
I've had my hamster come around me since she's died. I've felt her sitting on my shoulder before. And, like, I always know she's there because I can smell her bedding. Yep,
yeah. Oh, absolutely, yes. Smell is a very interesting way to connect with heaven, too. They use scent because it brings up so many memories for us. But yeah, I've brought through many different types of animals. Lots of horses.
Oh yeah.
A lot of horses have come through over the years. So if you've lost a horse, you will see your horse again. You know, lots of cats, lizards, iguanas, a snake. So, you know, the whole snakes in heaven thing. Yeah, there's no scary stuff.
They're not going to bite you.
They're not going to bite you.
They are hanging around.
Yeah, but so, like, you know, I've had monkeys come through for people who have lived in cultures where they interacted with monkeys, and sometimes they would be their actual pet, but in some cases I saw monkeys that were just sort of living like they
just
would
nearby.
They would come like make their home there, but they would go and
you just coexist with it.
Yes, but there was a relationship and that.
Have you seen any animals that don't exist on this earth as people's pets that came through?
Yes, yes, because people live lives on other planets, where they have other animals, and so if you've had a past life on another planet where they have different types of animals, I could see some strange animal when you I read for you. So that has happened. It's not something I tend to focus on because it's hard for people to relate to.
Right. You wouldn't know what that is in this life.
Yeah, and it's but sometimes I will talk about it if it stands out to me.
If it can still bring some comfort even to you on a higher level.
Sure. Yeah.
It's worth it.
I do think that that when I read for clients, there are different levels of that we're talking to. I'm talking to your higher self, and I'm So there's a lot of interesting animals and things that have come through. Birds, parrots, anything can come through.
You can keep it as a pet, and if you love it, it seems like you can see it on the other side.
I've never had it. I know people keep spiders and stuff.
Yeah.
I've never seen a spider in heaven, actually. I'm not saying they don't exist there, but I've never seen one.
Maybe they just don't show them to you because you don't like spiders.
I don't like spiders.
They're just trying to protect you a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of snakes either.
Yeah.
I had a few run-ins with snakes here in the desert and such, but our cute cuddlies, most of them, they come through.
Well, that's very comforting to hear. That's about time for us today. So if you guys have had any pets in the past and you want to share your experience with us, please comment below because we love to read that kind of stuff.
Yeah, tell us about your pets in heaven and we'd love to hear about that. So remember that God loves you, and I'm sending angels your way.
If you'd like to learn more about Missy Reno Smith, please visit MissyRenoSmith.com to book a reading and purchase her artwork. You can find the In Spirit Podcast on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, and wherever you stream your podcasts.